Alex Gum disappeared on February 22nd, 2018.
One day, Alex told me that he was leaving for Kauai.
So you're thinking, as a parent, let him go, let him have his time, and sooner or later he'll come home. Didn't happen.
His family is desperate for answers.
Spiritual seekers and members of cults have long come to Kauai seeking this sort of mythological Eden that for some of them isn't mythological, it's real.
As soon as I got off the plane, you just feel this weird energy. That island is scary and dangerous.
We thought, what if he did get involved into a cult?
This episode of Disappeared retraces Alex's last known steps.
We're gonna go to Hawaii now and really go look for our friend.
Alex thought he was in communication with something outside of this world, extraterrestrial, perhaps. This is not some fun adventure. This isn't a game. This is life and death.
The more people who know Alex's story, the greater the chance of bringing him home. Share on social media. Get the word out. Help find him. Have you seen Alex Gum?
My name is Ben Gum. I am Alex Gum's father. My son disappeared on February 22nd, 2018 in Kauai, Hawaii, and he is still missing. Alex grew up in North Berwick, Maine, a very small town, 4,000 people.
I'm Sally McLaren, Alex's mom. He showed a great aptitude for art at a very young age. His doodles were good. They were like cartoons, so he was very artistic.
I hear you are looking to find the Holy Land. I will tell you where to go and give you the powers that you need on your journey.
He was very interested in graffiti and spent hours perfecting what he did.
And we let Alex do murals in our basement. And once he honored me in one of his murals, he put a heart, he put the name M-O-M next to it.
I tried to get him into all the traditional sports, but then he gravitated towards skateboarding. And once he got on his skateboard, that was the focus of his life.
It wasn't long before he met a group of friends that also skateboarded right in town. That was great.
My name's Ian Davis. I've known Alex since I was 15 years old. I met him through skateboarding. Even though Alex was a few years younger than all of us, he really stood out because he had no fear. He would try anything, and he would always miraculously land the things he was trying. So that earns you respect in that kind of group,
I'm Spencer McLeod. I'm Alex Gum's friend. I met Alex, I think I was 15 years old, and Alex was much younger than me. Me and Alex were really close friends, but I always looked up to him because he was so good at everything.
Alex seemed a little immature at times, but when you got to talk to him, you knew there was a lot more going on there. Deep down, he was like an old soul, I would say.
After Alex's freshman year, all of his good friends graduated from high school. So his sophomore year in high school was very difficult for Alex, and he really lost interest in school.
I always thought he was like a closet genius. He was so smart. He was one of those people that they say is too smart for school. It just didn't intrigue him enough.
He didn't graduate, with his class, and obviously we were very disappointed, but he decided to get his GED.
Alex started recording music, and I was quite amazed because he got himself a sounding board, and he would pull things into his room from around the yard. I remember he took my chimes off the porch, and he would make all the tracks and all the sounds of the instruments by himself.
So he was 22 when he went to LA to pursue music. He gravitated more to folk music, and the music that he wrote was very interesting, his real focus.
So the music community over there, it was very like psychedelic 60s reborn.
He had found a girlfriend. He had a job. Alex was very happy.
And Alex put out like multiple full-length albums with different bands and by himself. Some really, really awesome music.
We were really excited for him, and we were in touch with him back and forth all the time on the phone.
So Alex arranged a night of music where he would bring in his band and 2 or 3 other bands to perform. And unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of people there, and everything seemed to fall apart after that night. He lost his job at the restaurant, he lost his girlfriend, and he left the band.
We got the phone call. Well, I'm ready to come home. I think I know what LA's all about, and I miss you guys, so pick me up at the airport. And we went and got him.
Alex came back to Maine, and really with his head between his tail.
He totally changed his demeanor. His demeanor at home reflected a lot of his newfound interest in Eastern philosophy. He took a mattress off of his bed, laid it on the floor, and he set up a little temple. I couldn't go in his room if he was meditating, and he really had this Easter way of life at that time.
He had become a vegan, and he spent his time writing music, reading spiritual texts, all kinds of spirituality. He read the Bible. He read the books from Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism. You name it, he was interested in it. He was also very interested in the television show Ancient Aliens.
Alex was always interested in aliens and stuff like that, and there was a point where we were watching Ancient Aliens on TV, and oh, that's real. He was really interested in like all that stuff.
When he would talk about extraterrestrial beings, it seemed very scientific that he had researched and he had answers. I discounted his interest in extraterrestrial invading his consciousness, but maybe he believed it.
One day, Alex came down the back stairs and he told me that he was leaving for Kauai.
And I thought, oh, okay, that's an interesting choice, because I think Kauai is a series of inactive volcanoes. Beautiful beaches, so it makes sense to me.
So on the morning of February 22nd, we drove him to the bus that goes to Logan Airport. He was wearing his signature leather broad-brimmed hat and his parka that looked like a Mexican parka, had his backpack.
When we got into the bus station, he wouldn't even embrace us or give us a hug goodbye. Of course, you're thinking, as a parent, let him go and let him have his time, and sooner or later he'll come home. Didn't happen.
My name is Brittany Light. I'm a reporter at Honolulu Civil Beat, and I've been covering the Alex Gum case. Kauai is the oldest island in the Hawaiian archipelago. It is commonly referred to as the Garden Island. It's so verdant and lush. It's sort of like an otherworldly jungle paradise. And it's no surprise that a lot of folks who love adventure and want to backpack and camp, they flock here.
He was gone for maybe a week, so I called him, and it immediately went to voicemail. Another week goes by, trying again. This time I leave a message. Alex, it's Mom, haven't heard from you. Please give us a call, just want to know you're all right. Still didn't hear from him.
We weren't overly concerned about this because he had gone to other places over the last 4 or 5 years. California, Oregon, India, but we could access his bank accounts and we could see that Alex arrived safely in Kauai because there was a charge on his debit card for a one-night stay at the local youth hostel in Kauai.
I called the hostel, and the woman that I spoke with remembered that Alex had been there only one night, and they really didn't know anything more other than he left. He'd been there and he left.
After that, the trail went buzz. I was worried, but then the 2 weeks turned into a month, and I thought about how he was fascinated with aliens and that maybe this culminated in his trip to Kauai.
Alex was fascinated with this mythological place called Lemuria, which is this ancient continent that was inhabited by aliens from another star system. And there's quite a bit of literature on the internet that describes the island of Kauai as being Lemuria. And so it seems that Alex got the idea that Kauai was Lemuria and he wanted to come here.
So Kauai is supposedly the modern day place where Lemuria was or is. So if you believe in that origin story of humanity and that there were aliens that seeded the earth and you wanted to connect with that place, it would make sense to pursue that and to go there and try to do that.
Spiritual seekers and members of cults that worship Lemuria have long come to Kauai seeking this sort of mythological Eden that, for some of them isn't mythological, it's real.
With all of Alex's interest in Eastern philosophy and extraterrestrial beings, we thought, what if he did get involved into a cult?
So Kauai is supposedly the modern day place where Lemuria was or is. And if you wanted to connect with that place, it would make sense to pursue that and to go there and try to do that.
Before he went to Kauai, he developed the philosophy that the Earth was populated by aliens.
The whole Lemuria thing came up because we were watching an Ancient Aliens episode. It just came on, and it was about Kauai and how they think that that's where the ancient Lemuria is actually located. Kind of like one of those Atlantis stories. That fascinated Alex. Alex thought that he was aliens, comes from this star system, and they seeded the Earth. And where they seeded the Earth was once called Lemuria, but it's now where Kauai is. So that was like an alternative origin story for civilization or for humanity. And he subscribed to that, from what I understand. I know that at one point Alex thought he was potentially in some sort of communication with something outside of this world, extraterrestrial perhaps. He thought he was communicating with something.
To some people, his behavior might bring up questions and, how is Alex's mental health? Was he, diagnosed with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia?
During all of this, of course, it crossed our mind, is there something troubling Alex? Is he disturbed in any way?
I would say he seemed too lucid and I don't think it's anything like schizophrenia, but if anything, it seemed like some sort of manic bipolar, but not like a schizophrenic.
Our friendship definitely dissolved. I had friends and go all the time. This one was tough because he was definitely like a younger brother to us.
I felt that Alex might have needed some help, but he didn't want it. Well, obviously, we were devastated.
Well, that was a little hard to understand, but I think he was searching for something.
So this idea that Kauai is Lemuria has certainly attracted pilgrims. Recently, there was a cult that came to Kauai from the mainland, and they apparently believed that it was Lemuria. It's wholly possible that Alex came to Kauai to join one of these groups who, believes that Kauai is Lemuria.
I contacted the police, and they did list him on the missing persons list.
Then we immediately contacted the local newspaper, explained the story, and one of the reporters there was nice enough to write a story for the local Kauai newspaper about Alex's disappearance.
Every time the phone would ring, we're saying, maybe that's Alex. Maybe that's Alex. He's going to say, hey, Dad, can you come pick me up? I'm at the airport. But that just never came to be.
I mean, that was the epitome of my frustration. Anyone who's been a parent or is a parent knows how they love their children. And I can't find Alex.
So at this point, there have been lots of tips that have come in, but nothing has panned out.
We were not in a position physically or business-wise to be making that trip to Kauai. And, you go out there, and, how much time do we spend? What if we haven't found him? How do I get on that plane to come home? I can't. So I can't even go. But I did go through his room looking for any possible clue. I found a map of Kauai in his computer desk with a couple places circled, a couple of the towns. But I couldn't go on the computer because I'm not computer savvy. And then one of his skateboard friends contacted me to help.
Nobody's heard from Alex for over a year, and I was working with Hunter, Spencer's brother, and he said, did you know Alex Gumb's missing? And I said, what do you mean Alex Gumb's missing? So I immediately pulled my phone out, searched his name, missing, and articles popped up. And it was very shocking and very concerning, and that's when we decided to get involved.
We started digging through his stuff, and I'm just like, Sally and Ben, how deep did you guys go? For us, we know how to dig in.
So we went through his search history, and we were wondering about the whole cult thing.
We were trying to dive into like his Google searches and get into his computer and as much as we could, and we gathered a lot of information because I couldn't even believe it. Alex's computer, the stuff that came up on the search was like foraging for your own food and stuff like that, and him being a raw vegan in a place that is a tropical island, you can live off the land, so.
He's not someone who would be falling under the spell of like a cult leader, but this off the grid thing, I mean, anything is possible with this story.
So his friends tell us that maybe Alex had gone off the grid and that he was emailing outfitter businesses in Kauai prior to him leaving. Alex wasn't a roughing it type of guy, but yet he was looking to buy camping equipment.
Alex had researched it, looked into it, researched edible fruits and berries, was preparing himself for living independently.
Kauai has long attracted free-spirited, hippie, counterculture holdout types who want to live off the grid. It's completely possible that Alex is living off the land, living off the grid, doing his thing that he, it seems wanted to do.
I could see him as being like, I could be self-sufficient out in the jungle. Like, I could see him totally living that life and being okay with that.
We felt that Alex was living off the grid, and about 6 months after Alex went missing, the private investigator contacted us and offered his services.
My name is Brian Fujiuchi. I'm a private investigator on Kauai. I was hired by Ben and Sally Gum to find their son who went missing on Kauai. I don't know if Alex wanted to be found, but I think he wanted to be by himself. If you wanted to be by yourself, you could just walk into one of the valleys and pitch a tent or build a house, a tree house, whatever, and you can survive. I've known and spoken to a gentleman who lived, in a valley for 12 years, by himself, catching rainwater and surviving.
Brian suggested that many people who go to living off the land, and our hope goes up again, that maybe Brian is going to find him.
So the investigation starts backwards. Now what happened? Where did he go? I went down to the Salt Pond Beach Park and just to canvas there, put up a flyer.
Salt Pond Beach Park is on the island's western shore. It's frequented by tourists as well as local residents, and there's often a community of homeless folks who are living there as well.
I started putting up the posters, and a local lady said one cold night made a big pot of soup and brought it down to the Hanapepe's Salt Pond Beach Park. And so she saw this young man sitting at a table reading a book. She said the book appeared to be some kind of a religious book that he was reading. So she asked him, "Do you want some soup?" And he said, "Well, what's in it?" And she said, "Ham." And he said, "Oh, I can't have any," because he was a vegetarian. And at that time, she noticed the tattoo on his hand. A tattoo can be like a fingerprint, because if it's one of a kind, then it's easy to identify the person. And so I said, describe the tattoo. And she said it was a blue, kind of like a triangle shape. That was almost 100% proof that was Alex.
This is a pretty credible tip because she saw a man with the same tattoo, the fact that he didn't want to take the soup because he doesn't eat meat. All of these things make this tip very, very credible.
This area is known as Hanapepe, and this beach park in particular is called the Salt Pond Beach Park. Well, because the information was relatively new and fresh, I came down here right away. Checked around, and there was nobody that fit his description. So I started going to each tent and talking to people. And one of the guys that I talked to said, yeah, he stays with this girl, in a white car. It's a white car, it's in the parking lot. So I looked in the white car, and the back seat was filled with religious books. So I'm thinking, well, yeah, maybe Alex, made a friend and was riding the car. So I came back to the park, walked around, and the same guy that I talked up to him, and the guy that came out was a tall gentleman, slim, with slight beard. And so I asked him, for his name, and he gave me his name. So I said, well, do you have any identification? He said, why? So I said, well, I'm looking for this, to shorten the picture. He said, oh, no, that's definitely not me. So he showed me his hands. He had tattoos on his arm, but not on his hand. So I said, do you guys ever see this boy around? He goes, no, but we're not here every day, all day. So, he may have come and left, So I put up more flyers in the town, hoping that somebody else would call me to say that they've seen it. But then as time went on, the tips stopped coming in.
So by the fall of 2019, we decided to start running social media ad campaigns with missing posters of Alex, targeted for the entire island of Kauai, trying to generate leads about where he might be in order to conduct our search effectively. So the guy reached out to me on Instagram and he said, hey, I think I've seen your buddy. I think he stays at Donkey Beach. It's a beach, I think it's 20 minutes north of where the airport is. Not too far, not too hard to get to. This guy said, yeah, I think he's camping on Donkey Beach, and I'm pretty sure he goes to a food pantry every Wednesday in Princeville. At the end of the day, you gotta do something, and that's what we decided to do.
We're gonna go to Hawaii now and really go look for our friend. And so it was myself, my brother Hunter, one of my best friends Ian, our friend Alec, who was along for the ride, and we convinced our really good friend Shane in LA the night before we were flying out to join us. That was the group. Growing up and filming Alex and being in that whole documenting his life, we decided that we were going to search for Al and film this and turn it into a documentary in a bigger project. It just felt like the right thing to do, to get us who were willing to go on this adventure to find our friend, because we knew he was out there. We really, really did.
Alex Stone was last seen February 22nd, 2018. If you have any information, please
As we're coming in, you see just how Kauai is absolutely remote and lush and just staggeringly beautiful. Everything about it seems larger than life. And just something about it seems kind of mysterious, I guess. It feels like there's some sort of natural beauty and power to that place. There's something there, beyond what you see, I would say.
As soon as I got off the plane, you just feel this weird energy. Not that it was bad, it was just weird.
The plane lands and I'm perfect, we'll post up in Princeville, the food pantry, a stakeout. Alex will come out to go get his weekly rations, and we'll walk up and say, "Hey man, like, what's going on?" But I get a message from the same guy, and he's like, "Hey, I had a chance to talk to that guy, it's not him." It was just kind of like, okay, so there goes this lead where we really thought, like, we know where he is. I was so convinced going there that we were going to find him and be like, okay, we can confirm he's alive, find out why he went, solve the mystery. So that was really deflating when we landed, and this lead is like immediately gone.
It is sad because we had just got there.
I mean, none of us had ever conducted like a search for somebody, but we were just trying to create a plan. And I do remember that from his search history, he was looking at YouTube, he was looking at a couple different monasteries in Kauai.
Alex was interested in being a monk and going through the whole steps in that. So there's monasteries on that island specifically, and that's definitely something Alex was interested in.
The hostel where Alex spent his first night when he arrived on island is only about a 20-minute drive from the Hindu monastery here on the island. So it is possible that he came here with the intent to perhaps join the monastery or at least make some inroads there.
And I know when you're a monk, at least from my perspective, you cannot have any ties back to home, and you gotta leave your life behind. And he could be doing that right now. We ended up going to a monastery there. We asked if they knew Alex. They said no.
We all got the same vibe that they kind of didn't want us there. They weren't helpful. We showed a picture and they weren't really interested in looking at it and just kind of said, yeah, he's not here. There's something about it that was just off-putting. Maybe they don't want to be forthcoming with information. They're a little cagey because perhaps they respect that that person made that decision to join, if that makes sense.
But at this point, we only covered the surface. It was just like, let's keep going. We need to find him.
Hey, we have a quick second. Sure. This is another photo. Be named Alex. We just want to make sure he's okay. Because he's been missing for a year and a half. We haven't heard anything in a year and a half. We just want to make sure he's alright.
I keep hearing that, so it's good.
Yeah, you look kind of familiar.
Have you been to Colorado yet? Oh, that's the ticket right there.
A lot of the locals kept talking about this Kelele Valley, and there's a community out there. I could see Alex joining a group of like-minded people for sure that are living off the land and have no rules or no tie to society. And so we were like, we need to go look there.
Kalalau is an extremely isolated beach and valley on the island of Kauai. Kalalau Beach is surrounded by 2,000 and 3,000 foot tall cliffs, just a cathedral of volcanic mountain peaks and just soaring cliffs with razor sharp edges. You cannot drive there, you cannot take a helicopter there. And for that reason, it's sort of this alternate universe. There are clean streams that you can drink from and bathe in. There are folks who do farming there, grow their own food. There are pigs you can hunt there. So there's sort of always been this illicit, off-the-grid community living in this valley.
16-mile trail through the jungle, and it's up and down cliffs and many mountains and in and out of wetlands, dry lands the whole way. It's not like you're walking down a nature trail. It's very, very dangerous.
The problem is we had very limited time, so we couldn't hike out there feasibly, and we didn't have any gear, and that's when we were put in contact with somebody who could on the beach. So we got in the boat.
It's like an hour plus boat ride. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's amazing. You're in what is like Jurassic Park. It's like so isolated. It's so beautiful, so jungle. But what they didn't tell us is when the boat brings you there, they can't bring the boat right up to the shore because the waves are so big. We're like a football field away, and he's like, when I go in, you guys all have to jump.
That's when like the nerves really hit.
Hang on. No, don't jump yet. Hang on. Good. Right there. Move up.
I realize my shoes are still on. I have a trash bag full of camera gear. I'm just not prepared. And now I'm in the ocean. There's no turning back. I caught the wave, but I just got thrown head first into the water. I was completely vertical, like head facing down. Getting tossed around underneath a wave. This is really happening. This is not some fun adventure. This isn't a game. This is life and death. I was under for I don't know how long, but it felt like a long time waiting to come up.
It was just straight chaos. I look over at Ian, and he is white as a sheet, like he just puked.
It felt like being on a different planet. I was getting really overwhelmed, like emotionally. We had a huge area to look for.
This is the trail based on the map.
Heading into the valley, you kind of have the loosest trail, and we are like bushwhacking it through the jungle.
This is how far we've gotten. If you're out here, we really want to find you. Give us a sign. Where the hell are you? Oh.
We did as much as we could to try and find people out there, but we couldn't find Alex. So we ended up going back to the beach, and I remember turning the end of the trail, turning and seeing waves, and my heart sunk. The waves are huge, and I'm horrible at swimming.
I don't know exact distance, but like a couple 100 feet to swim from like the beach to the boat, which with huge waves is like pretty, intense.
I'm like, all right, I'm either gonna have a panic attack right now, or I'm gonna try and do this. I dove through the wave, and I just timed it wrong, and it just threw me down. I've never felt the sensation of being drowned by a wave before, but you feel that over and over again, and then as soon as you can, get deep down in your body to push off the bottom and jump back up, when you can barely gasp air, and you get brought back under again. And so I got really, really rocked, and I nearly drowned. I came up like a dead fish on the sand, just like no strength, shaking, like water coming out of my nose. And I was the only one that didn't make it back on the boat. And so I got up. I'm trying to signal to the boat. I'm just I'm done.
So we had to just accept the fact that, okay, Spencer's staying the night and hiking out by himself. Like, it was just overwhelming with the fear of what could happen. And I dragged these guys out here, and we're trying to find Alex, and now we're going to lose another friend.
Didn't sleep a wink that night. All I'm thinking is hopefully it's a chance to keep looking for Alex in the morning. I got up at 4 in the morning and it's still dark, and I had my backpack up and down, in and out of the jungle. Every turn and every little, stopping point, I'm like, there Alex could be, and I'm just gonna have to take a selfie with him, just so everybody knew that I had found him. And I'm like, head down, hiking up this steep hill, and then I hear, "Okay, brother." I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, Alex, but he wasn't there. My brother Hunter had hiked in 2 miles to catch me. Love you, man. It's crazy. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, breaking down in tears. It was really good to see them. And then we hiked back the 2 miles and finally got back to society and civilization. It was quite the journey.
We left the island feeling like we put in a valiant effort to try to find Alex. Everything we did, it was 5 guys in their 20s just trying to do what they could to find a friend.
They were all very, very disappointed in not being able to find Alex. We're very, very grateful to the young men who went to Kauai.
That island is scary and dangerous. There's a lot of risks there, and many people visiting either drown or get lost and fall off a cliff.
This is not a place where you can go and it's a ride. This is real life, and it's very dangerous and treacherous. That being said, Alex is a really smart, resourceful guy. An accident can happen to anybody, but something tells me like he would be too careful for that to happen. He's too calculated.
From the very beginning, we knew that the possibility that Alex had died was a very real possibility. But as every day goes by and a body has not been found, we have more hope.
Did he go there and shave his head and become a monk? Or is he just on the beach playing the guitar? Both are possible. There's evidence for both, I would say, arguably.
Alex Gum has been missing for 5 years, and I do still feel like he's alive and out there, in need of somebody to say hi to your mom and give her a call.
If anyone knows how we can contact Alex, please contact us. We would be forever grateful.
So we built a website called Searching for Alex. And the whole idea is, like, if you have any tips or any information, please, you can be anonymous.
I would say, Alex, we love you more than you know. Give him the wiggle. And you're a gift. I picture him just living a quiet life, but I keep praying that somewhere there's a little voice inside of his head that's going to say, it's time. Call Mom and Dad. Get in touch with them.
It's like he disappeared off the face of the earth. He started doing drugs. He didn't know how to stop.
My fears is that he ended up owing these people money. The longer time goes on, it becomes a challenge to find them.
It is the worst feeling as a mother to not know where your child is.